Hey guys, hopefully everyone is doing well. Today's target is to solve question number 5, and the chapter we are related with is absorption and marginal costing. Question is little different, though you can see the volume of this question has a length. It's lengthy question, but there is only one answer. Just opposite what we have already done in previous questions. Question is long, but actually the good thing is it's not a lengthy question. Already solved question, and they are asking us to change the shape of this question. Basically, when you will feel it, when you will see the appearance of this question, please look at over here. Now guess which type of costing it is. When you are subtracting sale minus cost of sales, and then fixed cost is separated. At above side there is only variable cost, and then fixed cost is separated to get the net profit. And secondly, this word is very important, contribution. When you will subtract your cost from sales, you are getting your contribution. So what type of costing it is? Hopefully someone will give the correct answer. It is marginal costing. The amount which is present over here is marginal costing. So what is then requirement? Prepare budget profit loss under absorption costing. So the statement has been provided us in terms of marginal costing. We are needed to convert this marginal costing into absorption costing. The difference between absorption and margin costing is very important. The bigger difference is the fixed cost. Normally when you see absorption costing, you will have fixed cost and variable cost at the same time. While in marginal costing, fixed and variable are separated. Variable are written at above side and fixed is written on downside. First we will make performa statement for absorption costing statement. Here what you will do, you will make a statement for absorption costing. So what usually we do, income statement according to absorption costing, where the first element which would be right would be sales, and over here you write your units per unit, and smaller amount, then larger amount. This is your inner column and outer column. And then from sales we will subtract our cost of sales, including fixed cost and variable cost. From here you will start your cost of sale performer, opening stock, then add production cost. You will subtract closing stock over here, and then you will see if there is any under over applied. Finally, when you will subtract cost of sales from sales, you will get your gross profit. After which you will be subtracting operating cost. This operating cost includes selling, admin expenses, and then marketing expenses as well. Collectively, when operating costs would be subtracted from gross profit, we'll get our net profit. So this way our statement would be completed. Everything provided at above, you can see we have opening stock, we have production cost, we have closing stock, and in our statement we do have the same thing, opening stock, production, and closing stock. But difference is, in marginal costing we do not add fixed cost. We do not add fixed cost, so we'll have to add this fixed cost as well. So one way to solve this question is to find out the number of units and then change it. Let's say we want to find out how many number of units were produced. 72,000 was the cost of production. So production cost was 72,000. And what was per unit cost from question? Here standard cost per unit is given 16, 8 and 6. Direct material, labor and variable F5. These are the only factors which are associated with per unit cost, 16, 18, 6. So total per unit cost we have, here we will calculate 16 and then 18 and then 6. Finally 6. So we have our total per unit cost as 40. You have an idea how to calculate our per unit cost, for which what you will do, you will take the amount or cost and then divide it with per unit. So this way you can calculate your per unit cost. Amount is present over here 72,000 and you will divide it with per unit. Once again, this is formula for the units. So how you can calculate your units? Amount would be divided by per unit cost. And how we have created this formula? As we know that per unit cost is equal to amount and then it would be divided by units. Now you can see that when units are divided over here, when you will take it to the opposite side. When units are being taken to the opposite side, sign would be changed. Here it is divided. When you will take it to the other side, it would be multiplied, and you will have units into per unit for your amount. But to calculate units, you will be dividing your amount by per unit. So these are different formulas. I'm just trying to let you understand. We have a formula for the units, we have formula for the per unit, and let's solve it for the amount as well. Units are divided over here. It would, when you will take it to the opposite side, what would happen? Sign would be changed. Already per unit cost is present over here. Now you are taking your units to the opposite side. It would be multiplied by units, and what would left on right side? Only amount. And now next factor is what? Per unit cost is being multiplied with units and you want to take it to the opposite side. Here only units will be left, amount on right side, and now you are taking this per unit cost to the opposite side. So you will divide per unit cost over here. So same formula we have directly written, units are is equal to amount divided by per unit. Units are is equal to amount per unit, amount divided by per unit cost. So these are different universal formulas and can be used at any place. For the time being, we need to have units. And what we will do, we will use above formula to calculate our number of units. So come over here, amount is 72,000 and it would be divided by per unit, which is 40. Now we can put it on our calculator after writing down the statement. So what we have got is 1800 number of units we have found out. Number of units in question was not given, and it means for 6,000, for 72,000, for 14,000 number of units were 1800. This is very important factor. But now for our statement we are going to change it. Instead of 1800 were the units which were produced, so we can write 1800 over here. Per unit cost previously was 40 and this was not including any fixed cost. Please try to understand the difference between absorption and marginal costing is fixed cost. We usually add fixed cost and variable cost to calculate our per unit cost. You have complete idea. Normally we do calculate over here per unit cost in another way, where we do add fixed per unit cost and variable per unit cost to get total per unit cost. So we'll have to see how much fixed per unit cost is present in our question. You will be reading this. The company's normal value is 4,000 units and it is budgeted fixed cost is 8,000. So how we can calculate our per unit cost? Same, we will be taking help from this formula. Per unit cost is equal to amount divided by units, and remaining is unnecessary. We can take it to further down. Okay, per unit cost is equal to amount divided by units, and here you have your amount and units. 8,000 amount, 4,000 units. So put 8,000 over here and divide number of unit 4,000. Now we can calculate 8,000 divided by 4,000. So we have got our per unit cost, per unit fixed cost. It is the formula we can alter according to our requirement. Per unit fixed cost is equal to amount of, here we will change, we are in need of amount of fixed cost and would be divided by units of fixed cost. Alright, so old variable cost, or the cost which is given in our question was 40. This was variable cost, and fixed cost is 2. The only thing which we will change is this per unit cost. So we will go upside, and here we have written the formula. Per unit cost we have calculated is 2, and we need to add variable cost which was 40. We have calculated over here per unit 40. How did we calculate? Please focus over here. 16, 18 and 6, and this was given in our question. 16, 18 and 6. This way both costs are now completed. We have our new per unit cost which is 42. So what will happen? We have opening stock over here which was 6,000 and production was 72,000. There are two costs we have calculated. One was per unit cost according to marginal costing. This was according to marginal costing, and we have calculated another per unit cost which is 42. This is according to absorption costing. Under absorption costing you add fixed and variable cost. From here our method would be started. Since this was your per unit cost for 6,000, so we will change 6,000. Here we can write older one. I am just willing to change it. Marginal opening stock is given as 6,000. So please focus again. This 6,000 was given according to marginal costing. Since it was not having fixed cost, so we will change it. This 6,000 was calculated when per unit cost was 40, and now per unit cost is changed. Instead of 40, per unit cost is now 42. So how much marginal how much your opening stock would be. This is the only thing which you have to understand. First factor, how we have calculated 42 and how would we change these amounts. 1800 units we have calculated and we are putting over here just to note it down. These 1800 are number of units. Okay, let me know. Unitary method will be used. Per unit cost we can mention over here, and we will mention cost over here. Then per unit cost was 40. Our stock valued as 6000, and now cost is 42. How much would be the value of opening stock? Now there will be a cross multiplication. X would be multiplied by 40. We will get 40x. And what would left on right side? 42 multiplied by 42 multiplied by 6000. Unitary method we are using. Now x is being multiplied with 40 over here. When you will take it to the opposite side, it would be divided. So first we will see 42 multiplied by 6000, how much we will get. 42 multiplied by 6000. Amount is 252,000. What is present on right side? On left side of is equal to, it is 40x. Now we want to take this 42x. Actually we don't need it. 40x is equal to, okay, so 40 is being multiplied with x. We want to take it to the right side. What will happen? We have already 252,000 on right side, 252,000, and we are taking this 40 to the opposite side. 40 is being multiplied over here. When you will take it to the right side, it would be divided. Finally, we can calculate our new opening stock. 252,000 divided by 40. So we have got our new opening stock. So it's very important to know, though calculations are very simple, but you will have to understand why we are doing it. Since in marginal costing, opening stock was present over here, fixed cost was not present. So what we have done, we have added fixed cost in it. Simple formula which we will create is 6300. How did we calculate? 6000 was present over here and it was multiplied by 42 and divided by 40. So new opening stock would be written over here under absorption costing. Instead of 6000 you will write 6300 as. In the similar way, this was for opening stock. In absolutely similar way, you will calculate your production cost as well. Old production cost was 72,000 and here new production cost will be calculated. We will take a shortcut. Now please see this 6000 old opening stock was multiplied by 42 and divided by 40. In the similar way, we will do the same thing. Old production cost 72,000 and it would be multiplied by, look at here, 6000 was multiplied by 42. So we will multiply it by 42 and we will be dividing it. So you have divided by 40. Same procedure what we have used for opening stock, same we will use for the production cost. Statement is completed. Now put it on your calculator. 72,000 multiplied by 42 bracket close divided by 40. So in this way our new production cost has arrived. Put over here 75,600. In the similar way, for closing stock we will be doing the same thing. Here we will calculate new closing stock. For that, what we will do, multiply it by 42 divided by 40. And how we have got that? This is unitary method. 5th, 6th standard class student knows it, how we can apply this unitary method. But instead of applying unitary method again and again and again, the factor we have squeezed is we will multiply it by 42 and divide it by 40, with which we will get our new cost where fixed cost would be added. Closing stock original amount was 14,000 and 14,000 we will take. It would be multiplied by 42 and divided by 40. In this way we will get our new closing stock. Statement is completed. We will now put it on calculator, where same 14,000 would be multiplied by 42 and divided by 40. So in this way we have calculated closing stock, we have calculated production cost. Now 14,700 would be put over here. Okay, since we were not having number of unit, that is why indirectly we have calculated everything. We do not have any opening stock units, production units or closing stock units. We do not have any per unit cost present over here. That was our problem. Okay, now let's see if sale is given in the question. Yes, sale is directly given 96,000. There will not be any difference of sales in absorption costing or marginal costing. Please, I'm requesting to observe, sale will always be same whether you are doing absorption costing or marginal costing. Now again we have a test if there is under applied or over applied. For that these units are very important. How did we calculate these number of units? 72,000 amount was present for unit produced. You can see that in our question unit produced was 72,000 and the cost was also mentioned 16, 18 or 6. So 40 was per unit cost. Total cost was 72,000. In CGS, in LIFO FIFO, you have seen how to calculate per unit cost when you will divide your total amount by units. Total amount by units, with which we have created a new formula. You need to calculate your units, so amount would be divided by per unit, with which you have calculated your number of unit 1800. Alright, now we want to know how whether we have produced less number of unit or more number of unit. Normal capacity of the firm is 4,000. So you can understand now, if normal capacity or standard capacity was 4,000 number of units, while we have produced number of units as 1800. So finally decided whether there was any production which is under or over applied. You are very clear now, standard was 4,000 and we have produced only 1800 number of units. So it is under production. How many number are unit? How many number of unit are under produced? For that, what you will do? 4,000 was standard, and you need to subtract 1800 units. Let's calculate how much under production was. 4,000 minus 1800. So you can see 2200 units are considered under production. We will come over here. Number of units we do know 2200. And now we will see per unit cost, per unit fixed cost, which we have already calculated. Look at here. Per unit fixed cost was calculated by dividing fixed cost to units of fixed cost. 2 is your per unit cost. You can put over here. Finally, you can calculate your amount by multiplying units into per unit. Units over here are 2200 and now multiply it with 2. So this way under applied production has been calculated, and you do know under applied would be added. So add under applied factory overhead. After which we see selling and admin expenses if they are present anywhere in the question. So first selling expense is written over here. How much? 6400. So put 6400 over here. After which we are now searching if selling admin are present anywhere else. Again, selling expenses and administrative expenses have arrived. Administration 7200. So put 7200 over here. And then we have second selling expenses 2400. 2400. These are not marketing expenses. Again, selling expenses they are, but we can mention these are be part of selling expenses. Right now everything is completed. We were required to calculate amounts of opening stock. We have calculated amount of production, amount of closing stock, under applied, selling admin. Everything has been completed. We are now open to calculate our gross profit, which is difference between cost of sales and sales. So first we will calculate our sales and we will be focusing upon these signs. First we have opening stock, then we need to add our, one second, here is our opening stock, and then we need to add production cost, after which we will subtract closing stock 14700, and since it is under applied, so we will add under applied production, which was 4400. This way our cost has been completed. This is our total cost. Now we can calculate gross profit, which is difference between cost of sales and sales. Amount of sale is 96,000 and you will subtract your cost, which is 71,600. So this way gross profit has been calculated. Now we will calculate total operating cost. There are three elements present. First 2400, then 7200, and then 6400. Sum would be written over here. We are ready to calculate our net profit, which is difference between operating cost, which is difference between operating cost and gross profit. Here we will calculate. So instead of putting ending line over here, we can put ending line just before net profit, and here you will see your net profit is going to be calculated. What we will do, we will subtract our operating cost from gross profit. How much gross profit? That is 24,400, and we need to subtract total operating cost, which is 16,000. Highlighted area you have to focus. So finally we have got our net profit, which is 8400. Let's see, answer is written over here 8400. Only one answer, and we were needed to complete our income statement according to absorption costing. What is the conclusion in this question? What is important part of this question? That is this. If you will understand, or if you will keep this calculation in your mind, you will able to understand this question. The difference was This was marginal costing, and in under marginal costing, stock production and closing stock are written without having fixed cost. So what we have done, we have changed these stocks and production cost and closing stock from margin costing to absorption costing, just adding fixed cost. How did we do that? We have calculated our per unit cost. This was old per unit cost 40, then 2 was fixed cost element, and finally we have added fixed cost and variable cost to get a per unit cost for absorption costing. So 40 per unit cost, at 40 per unit cost, you were having 6,000 opening stock, but we were willing to know how much opening stock would be if our per unit cost changed from 40 to 42. From 40 to 42. Here unitary method was used where we have calculated our new opening stock. 6,000 was old opening stock, 6,300 was new opening stock. This 6,300 now includes the element of fixed cost. This is only twist, and we have mentioned over here as well. So all three items were changed: opening stock, production and closing stock, from margin costing to absorption costing, just by adding the fixed cost element. Nothing else is different. These selling admin expenses we have taken from the book, and there is no complication. 96,000 was given in the book, no complication. These three statements we have changed. I'm requesting you to focus. That's the only thing in this question which is important. We have changed opening, production and closing stock from 6, 72 and 14 to 63, 75 and 14 cents. So these amounts were changed and nothing else we have changed. Everything was present in the question. This is our usual under applied or over applied production, where we have seen unit produced were 1800, which we have calculated over here by using the simple formula per unit cost and units, with which we come to know that 1800 number of units were produced. In question it was mentioned that standard was 1400. So how we have calculated under over applied production? Standard capacity was 4000, we have produced 1800. It means 2200 units were underproduced or not produced. So these number of units were put over here, and you know that under applied or over applied is only associated with fixed cost. Per unit fixed cost we have calculated 2, which was given in the question. As you can see that 8,000 was cost for 4,000 number of units. So how much per unit fixed cost? 2, and same per unit cost was put over here. In this way under applied amount 4200 4400 was calculated. So please, uh, the total part which we have solved is this, but the important figure is only this. Kindly understand this highlighted area, how we have changed amounts from absorption costing to marginal costing. So in this way, answer has been matched. Our question number 5 has been completed. Time for the solution of this question has been ended. And if you have any query, any question regarding the solution of this question, you are very open to ask your queries by putting any comment or write down messages or text, or you can directly ask as well. For the time being, lecture time has been ended. We will surely be meeting for the solution of 6th question in future, inshallah. Up till then, please take care of yourself, and I'm requesting you to please pray for me as well. Thank you very much for your time. It's time to say goodbye. Allah Hafiz.